Planning and Zoning Commission special meeting, April 4th, 2024, will now come to order. At this time, we will have public comments.
Van, do you need public comment today?
I don't think so. But if I think of something.
Okay,
Have a piece of new business.
okay, all right, for public comments,
No, after. Here, before there,
after old business,
yeah, I can do old business and new business, wherever you want.
okay. All right, at this time, we will move on to our new business, which is review of the master plan for consistency with the comprehensive plan.
Thank you very much. We're coming to the end, hopefully, of a long road, 8 months or more of putting these plans together. It's come before you a couple times. And the version you were sent out really has changed very little, with the exception of the addition of the implementation strategy, the redevelopment plan. And after all is said and done, what it comes down to is making sure that it is consistent with a comprehensive plan. If you think of the comp plan as sort of the constitution that can be changed, you can change and update the comp plan. We do that every time we rezone, typically, if future land use is not compatible. But this document really used the comp plan as sort of the guideline for how the community wants to grow. The comp plan was done many years ago, kind of set out keeping that small town feel, small community, height limitations, all those things, how we want to treat our natural resources, our stormwater, our water and sewer. There's a whole, much of the comp plan really is relevant to this plan. It's the water and sewer plant operations and personal property rights, which we just recently added in the update. But a lot of it does. And I sent you a cover memo where I tried to capture those things that were very critical in the comp plan to show how this plan is consistent with that. The goal one is to preserve and protect the city's natural resources. And I mentioned that one because something that's in the implementation strategy is to develop a stormwater master plan. That's actually in the comp plan. It used to be in there and said, you shall have one by 2011. And we didn't have one. And so when we updated it, we just said, you will have one and adopt it and follow it. So that's now in the master plan because the downtown and corridor stormwater is going to be an issue. So we need to have a master plan to do that comprehensively. After that, the objective A15, actually quite a bit of the comp plan talks about historic preservation and preserving our historic resources. And so not only does this master plan have us reusing the school site, adaptive reuse, but also calls for a historic preservation master plan. So that's an important thing. It's, I can't remember that specifically mentioned in the comprehensive plan, but it will help us guide us to achieving those objectives dealing with historic preservation. The master plan also calls for, the comp plan talks about our trails. The city shall pursue the construction of bikeways and pedestrian ways in conjunction with highway improvements on US 17 and 308. So the master plan contemplates the extension of the trail system that's out there, the piece that's out there north and south. They did research the Putnam Blueways and Trails system, even the Blueway system on the lake, and having us connect into that for recreation and for tourism. And then, again, I mentioned there's more in here. Policy C is about historic preservation. Goal D is, again, about the protecting natural water bodies and natural resources and adopting a stormwater master drainage plan. So those are just some of the major highlights I pulled out. The city and Crescent City shall maintain parks and provide sufficient recreational facilities to meet the needs. We actually have more parks per person than we need, but it does call for the expansion of what they're calling Celebration Park at the end of Central Avenue, taking away some of that concrete area to make more of a pedestrian. That's where we all gather anyway to watch the fireworks or the lake twice a year. So their idea was to make that like a park or a plaza more likely, where you can actually sit out there and there won't be cars in the way, rather than now where we have to clear out the cars and block it off for the event. So I just want to go through the implementation strategy with you a little bit. Unfortunately, this clicker won't work with this thing. It's a PDF. You'll notice in the first third, I think, of the document is just all the background, how we kind of got to this point, all the data that was collected, surveys that were done, the workshops that were done, the feedback that was collected, until you get to 4 is where the master plan, that's page 28, is where the master plan really picks up. It talks about the framework and the 6 focus areas. They did tweak the highway configuration. The commission decided they wanted to stay with the 4-lane because that's what DOT said you're stuck with. So we changed that configuration for Summit for 17 to remain a 4-lane facility. Opportunity area downtown. Big thing in the comprehensive plan is about infilling the highway development, infilling in your community rather than promoting sprawl out into the unincorporated areas of the county. So this plan has us filling in a lot of vacant land in the downtown. And then you'll see in the northern area, kind of guiding us on how to fill in the highway. I'll show you those. This is, I'm on page 35. They just tweaked these visuals a little bit to show the reuse of to incorporate moving City Hall to the school campus, the reuse of this old City Hall and this highway frontage. Opportunity area 3 is the school site. That pretty much remains the same. They changed the labeling a little bit to show the rec center, City Hall, event center kind of generically. Opportunity area 4. This is the Lake Stella waterfront. They did change that. I think that was based on your recommendation, is to keep the density down to single-family homes in that neighborhood and on that waterfront. So that's reflected here in the illustrations. They project some new single-family homes in that area, some improvements to Grand Rondo and perhaps the park, but that's about it.
Charles.
Yes.
Somewhere I read that there's a proposal to put additional parking along Lake Stella.
Well, what it says is, I think this is a holdover for when they changed plus or minus 70 new parking spaces. And I think that's not correct. I think that's from when they had a higher density housing product in there and they had parking lots. So they need to adjust that down. They're not showing any new parking other than your driveway, basically.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
I think that's
Good.
something they missed.
Thank you.
That's a good point, though.
Opportunity area number 5 is the north end, and this is really significant in showing the comp plan talks about focusing on infilling our commercial highway rather than keep expanding. And so this shows, they show 2 sites built out that are currently now undeveloped. I'm on the map on page 46. And then building out parcels in the plaza, again, to intensify the use of that existing place. It'll kind of cover up the plaza a little bit from the road and improve the parking lot, but shows more residential. And also, again, another element of the comp plan is to protect the lake shore. So they illustrated both those developments as pulled back from the lake shore, perhaps putting the stormwater component near the lake shore, which is at the bottom of the hill. So it's the easiest. But it keeps us in compliance with the comprehensive plan.
Charles,
Yes.
Also on 46, or my 46, it says 400 spaces, 420 residential units.
That would be those 2 sites that say condos. That's just an estimate of what might go in there.
Wouldn't it be more consistent if you have 420 units to put 420 parking spaces?
Oh, I see what you're saying. There's 400 spaces and 420 units.
I mean, it's
Okay,
not a big issue.
we'll note that change.
Not a big amount, but
Oh, makes sense.
How many stories, is that 3 stories?
They're showing 3. We do allow 3 stories in the comp plan. Yeah.
That would be covered under DRC, right? When they actually, the projects came in, that's when you would start to look at to make sure they're conforming to zoning and building height, spaces, things like that, parking spaces.
Correct. Even if they're doing a plan unit development, which kind of, I feel like throws zoning out, like you start negotiating everything.
Zoning,
It still has to be consistent with the comp plan.
right.
So you guys will still review it for that and may decide there's a comprehensive plan change that's needed and so forth.
But you would see some changes possibly in what's listed here just because of that.
Correct. Yeah, we don't know what someone will propose. They may come in and propose a 1-story thing and we'll have to decide
Whether
we want to hold out for the 2 or 3 stories or
Right.
When you say they, who are they?
a developer.
Whoever the.
Someone buys the land, I want to put in assisted living city that's 1 story. And we may go, well, we kind of envision that as a little more dense than that and apartments or something, you know.
So, wait a minute, are we talking about, apartment complex going in the parking lot of the Save-A lot? or
Those would be commercial out parcels.
On the,
We're talking about the ones that are on the lake on the right side of the
okay,
highway.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. That's.
So this is just a vision.
Okay,
I had someone call me about putting a camp for pastors on that property, you know, and as long as there's certain things they could do by right.
Sure.
And so, but this gives us, somebody says, what do you guys want there? I can go, well, this is kind of what we're thinking, a higher density residential product. And we prefer some commercial along that front. It's just mixed use on the front, mixed. Maybe those are 1-story buildings that have retail or whatever's allowed in GC1. And then the back is 2 or 3-story townhomes or apartments or condos.
In this world of condos not having the best public relations,
Yeah. Right now, I think there's really no market for condos.
no, yeah, it's
Yeah.
tanked, you know, so it may be wise to put townhouses,
Yeah,
at
actually,
least.
I had asked them to do that. They did it on some others where they use slash
I saw that,
townhomes.
yeah.
Then opportunity 6 is the southern end of town. Actually, they were gonna replace that Circle K picture. They're painted that now. It's gonna become an active convenience store. They put in the RV park in there. We sent them the site plan for that.
And what page are you on?
I'm on page 49.
Thank you.
And then they've added some, they kind of accumulated the pedestrian safety improvements. They did add a number of mid-block crossings. They want us to ask DOT for along the highway here. People could get over to the median and then on to the next side. I'll show you that in the implementation. I think it's in the implementation strategy.
Charles, going back to page 49, with the map on the upper right, it says, oh, never mind.
The legend.
Never mind. No, I answered it myself.
First time I saw the legend, I thought, why did they put the building way up there? And I realized it was the legend.
Well, that's exactly what my observation.
Summarizing events and activities as part of our approach. Now this page, I want to call your attention to page 54. It's beginning of chapter 5 or section 5, regulatory plans and CRA plan update. So the last chapter of the last paragraph, updates to include mixed-use housing policies in the comprehensive plan and zoning code is needed to incorporate downtown and lakefront development and allowances so they work in parallel with the city's vision and aspirations coming out of this planning process. Certain land use policy and code changes in the downtown and other nodes may be needed to attract investment and the right kind of development preferred by the community as outlined in this plan. City officials will need to work with the community to establish height, density, intensity, architectural character, and other objectives aligned with the outcomes of the vision master plan and in conjunction with potential investors develop a proposal. So that's sort of a CYA of compatibility. We may find as these projects come in, we need to update our comprehensive plan, which we'd actually have to, if they want to come in and the future land use doesn't match with the zoning they want. So that's sort of a catch-all saying this plan may generate some updates to your comprehensive plan to remain in compliance as it's implemented. And then if we go down to, it breaks it out into we mirror the 4-point approach that we use. And the implementation strategy begins on page 60. And that was an interesting exercise to kind of take that vision and like, how do we get there? What are the steps? So we broke it into projects within the first 0 to 3 years, which would be Central Avenue streetscape enhancements. So that's sort of the little things we've been doing rather than a multi-million-dollar streetscape. City entry features, downtown entry features, traffic wayfinding, pedestrian wayfinding, which is like when you get into downtown, they just have the shops' names on the corners, what shops are down the street. Alley activation, which the alley you're talking about is the one back here, doing art on the buildings and begin to create a space there for when this building gets reused. Facade improvements is just our facade program. Continue that, get more aggressive with that. Parking and hardscape improvements, that would be, we show beautification, for instance, down at the convenience store in Napa. We could actually pay a landscape architect to draw something, and then go after grants or work with them with a grant to implement some landscaping in the asphalt field that's down there to beautify that as a South CRA project. And then housing improvement grants. We're going to add a line in the budget in 3 districts for grants just for housing. There's a very limited number of houses in the CRAs, so I think we could tackle it probably in a short few years and bring them all up and make improvements to all of them. Pave Oakwood Street, that was just a detail from the old plan. I made sure stating there's one dirt road in the North CRA, right along Winn-Dixie there, connects to a paved portion. Get that paved. And then number 11 is purchase vacant lots or properties for redevelopment. So if properties are just sitting there and languishing, the CRA, as funds become available, we're looking to can we buy them and then convey them to someone who's interested in doing a project. Number 12 is FDOT safety improvements. That's the thing we talked about, pursuing mid-block crossings. Talk about a traffic light at where the blinking light is, and at the south end where Peak Prospect comes around, putting a traffic light there, or other safety features that might, as DOT permits them, or we get the proper, what do they call that, warrants to trigger that ability to put in a traffic light there. Number 13, historic preservation plan. That's to create a historic preservation master plan. Number 14 is create a stormwater master plan. Those are very expensive plans, and we put them in the capital budget out in the coming years, and we'll look for grants to fund those. I think a stormwater plan can be over $300,000 for a plan. And then the next section is economic development, the business environment opportunity. So in this one, they want us to do, so you can see there's opportunity areas 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is do prospectus for development. So reach out to a commercial real estate firm, have them develop marketing materials and so forth to push the ideas in the redevelopment plan out to the development community. Number 7 is former middle school site procurement. We've already moving down that road. 8 is the feasibility study to tell us what we're up against there to redevelop those buildings and move in. 9 is the update the land development code, which is going to come right after this. It's almost finished, but we put it in here because it wasn't done yet. And then promotion. There's just one item on promotion is to have events and activities programming. That's just to maintain, facilitate a very active marketing and promotion activity schedule in the community. Brings people to the community. And then I'm on page 65, organization. This is the partners part of it. They initially had called it partners. I call it organization or outreach, where Florida Main Street, the Downtown Partnership, the Fruitland Peninsula Historical Society, concerned citizens and Women's Civic Association, the Hispanic community, Putnam Blue Asian Trails, just all the partners, the Putnam County TDC, the Putnam County Chamber, the Small Business Development Center, the Economic Development Council, and even Bass Pro Coordination. They put that in there as they become a more visible entity, reaching out because there'll be housing needs for them, for the workforce that'll be over there. And then phase 2 is years 4 to 7. Design, which is the physical environment, trail and shared path and improvement and extensions. Looking for ways to extend our trail system and connect to the county. This is that Celebration Park design and construction. That's the making improvements basically to the boat ramp and the pier at the end of Central Avenue. On-street and surface parking design and construction. So that would be where we would, it would depend on what's happening with the school site and the developer. We might design a garage and just hold the design, or in partnership with someone move to construction if they're building a project there. That way the garage can be public parking as well as private for the development. And that's what number 4 is, the parking structure. Design and construction would come, I think, in the next phase. Number 5 is Lake Stella trail improvements, and that's just the trail that's already there. You know, we might add trees along it or little lighted bollards or improvements that we would design and vote on and approve just to tweak that facility. 6 is US 17 trail improvements. That's the trail that heads up to Winn-Dixie. We're recommending looking at that for maybe seating benches along it or other little improvements that make it a nicer trip when you're going up there. And then number 7 is update the utilities infrastructure plan. So we have a water and wastewater plan. There's actually a map of it on the wall. On the other side of the wall behind you, we'll need to update that in 4 to 7 years. And then economic development, alley activation phase 2, which is behind us. That would depend on us being out of this building. Purchase buildings and parcels for redevelopment. That's a kind of an extension of that vacant land idea, where if a building has just gone empty for years and years and there's no action, see if we can actually just purchase it and get it moving. And then there's those opportunity area prospectus again. And then another promotion, continue the promotion and continue the partnership. So the last phase 3, years 8 to 15, we're probably going to revisit this before then, but we threw some things that are way out there. Just a few things that we might not tackle until that time. And a lot of this, as we don't get, just pushes back, things may change and so forth. So I think it's a really good plan. I'm already working with the ideas in formulating a draft of capital improvement budget. And this will give us sort of the basis for annual work plans, both in the CRA and to work with the partnership on their annual work plan to see this vision come to pass. What we need tonight is for you all to vote if this is consistent with our comprehensive plan, and then make a recommendation. Your motion will be to find it consistent and to recommend to the city commission for approval. They're gonna consider it next Thursday.
I have a few questions.
Yes.
And I'll go to the master plan first. And it's page 40. Proposed buildings, I think this is probably a typo. It's got 100 square feet retail.
100,000 square feet of retail.
But I think it's missing a 0. It's showing
Oh, it is,
10.00. 40.
Yeah, that's a typo. It was actually the paragraph I read out loud had a typo in it as well.
And then we have 100 residential units. And then we have the school buildings, which states plus or minus 55,000 square feet. Is that the total of all the buildings that sit on the site now?
I think it's the total of those 5. There's still some classrooms that in this vision are gone, are removed, anything north of Cypress, the newer classroom buildings.
It's not including those,
I don't believe so.
but they're still on site.
They're
Still standing.
yeah, they're there now.
Yeah,
I
so
think
it's the plan is to remove them.
So yeah,
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think that number is what would be left.
And then it says fire/rescue boat storage. Does this, is just for marine rescue or
Yeah.
just marine rescue?
They're recommending we move our boat, which now sits over here, down to a building right by the ramp.
Oh, sure, it makes sense, yeah. Yeah, so is the recommendation that the fire station stay where it is?
Yes.
And then there's 200 off-street parking spaces. So that would be a parking lot? Is that the parking garage?
That's probably the garage, yeah.
So the parking.
No, the garage is 460,
460?
200 is off-street, which would be the campus, all around the condos. You see all the parking, there's some parking there in the, in Sunrise Park. It's just in this image you see here, they counted 200 off-street parking spaces, 20 trailer parking spaces, 70 on-street, and then in the garage, there'll be 460 if it's 3 levels.
So what it doesn't break down is how many residential units for parking.
Oh, in relationship to the parking?
Yeah. You know how many residential units there are in this one section?
Well, that 100 residential units is the combination of the townhome condos and the mixed-use apartments at the north end of the drawing.
So there would be a total of 100 new proposed housing units.
Correct.
So out of, let's say 660 spaces, 100 would be for housing homes.
Correct.
Okay. And so that would take care of not only the future retail, dining, event, city hall, it would take up care of all that parking.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And then we go to 42, and that's Lake Stella, and of course, we've deleted the townhouses and in favor of detached houses, correct?
Yes.
So it states public space improvements and amenities on Lake Stella, obviously including so is it suggesting more lookouts for nature watching?
It says including lookouts, plural. I think the main point of it is that we, as a community, look at that park and plan the improvements. So rather than specifically saying, oh, the plan says there's more lookouts, we have to build a lookout. say it says public space improvements, amenities, which could include another lookout, lighted bollards, benches. What the old plan had exercise stations. Is what some parks do, either
Yeah,
singly
yeah,
or as
familiar with
a
them, yeah.
cluster.
Yeah. Well, certainly, as I see it, the conservation area is priceless. It's of great value in many ways. As you get down towards the beach, though, that's more a congested use, as I see it.
Mhm.
So, I think that there are possibilities there, and perhaps, a bench or two along the conservation area, and perhaps another viewing area, but, it's nice to keep that as green as possible.
Sure.
And jumping ahead. Bear with me, I'm sorry. On page 37, the proposed bill is the suggestion is to expand the fire station to 15,000 square feet.
Page 36.
37,
37,
yeah. Third line from the bottom.
expanded fire station, that's correct. Yeah.
What do you think that building is now, 4,000 square feet?
The chief told me once, but I can't remember. Well, we think we're gonna get $1 million of the 2 million we asked for. So we may do a phase one, which would be, we actually have a conceptual drawing of an ambulance station
Oh.
with dorms and a bay, essentially is what it is.
Mhm.
And so that might be a phase one, and then we'd go back for more money. In phase two, we would raise the old metal building, and that could be a larger, they're recommending 15,000 square feet, but that would be, we'd have an architect that understands what needs are for fire, and especially if we end up proposing, sheriff's office move in there as an example, that would increase the size as well. So I think that's just a kind of something to shoot for, but.
Sure. So, but it's justified because of expansion of the fire services, but also for other uses such as ambulance.
Correct, yeah, we want to bring the ambulance into the city
Uh-huh.
For a better response.
Great, okay. And that will fit on the side.
Yes, it'll fit right behind the existing building.
Are any of these, buildings, just out of curiosity, will they have like conference spaces in it, like if people need to rent or, want it,
It could, it'll be, these are just sort of to illustrate, we want buildings here,
mhm,
and then what's in them, I think the market will have a lot to do with that. We want the front door to be retail, restaurant, on Central, and then on the highway, we haven't really stipulated what they'll be other than commercial.
yeah. And we're pretty much the only place, and I really don't know how that happened, that we don't have a community building that the city owns.
Well, that'll be the gym, and
Yeah.
those buildings over there will become the civic center.
Mhm.
that campus, really, we call it civic campus.
Okay.
Whether you, there's, go ahead.
So this is just, well, all this is a very general guideline. When
Yeah.
when it comes time to actually building stuff, it's gonna depend on what comes our way. Who's gonna be
Exactly.
the developer, what they're proposing, what they wanna bring to our city, and then we have to look at it and decide whether it's something that we want in that area or not.
Correct, we either defend that, like, no, this is really what we want compared to what you offer, nor we say, actually, that's a great idea. I think it fits the spirit of this, right, and let's look at what we need to do to make it happen.
And certainly for meetings and other events, the theater, the middle school, the auditorium,
Yeah, auditorium.
and possibly some of those other buildings for breakout meeting spaces, it's ideal.
Yeah, and the schoolhouse there is, I don't know for certain, but it's probably a lot more office space than we'll need, at least initially. We could end up with a couple of conference rooms in there that are available to the public to come in and utilize.
Absolutely. Okay, moving on the comp plan. I was delighted to read on page 5 that it says 25% of all planning on all new developments of vegetation native to the area. I assume that's grasses and plantings.
Yeah, our landscape code, we look at what the material is they're proposing and ask them to change it if it's not compliant.
I think I'm almost done, bear with me. Charles, on page 9, it talks about water management in wells. And now it's within 100 feet. But it also further says that if there's testing, and the 100 feet is if more is required, then that 100 feet could be expanded. But it also suggests that it could be reduced. So I understand expansion of it, but I don't understand reducing it.
I'm not familiar with that.
Well, I can talk to you later about it. And then throughout it talks about septic tanks. I assume that the city, because we have public water and sewer, that we have requirements that people hook up
If you're within 200 feet,
200 feet.
yeah,
So in one of the homes here, one of the established homes, there was a new septic system put in, which surprised me. I mean, with a tank and a leach field. Again, I'll talk to you later about it. But I'm glad to hear that our goal is to put people on these services.
yeah.
I mean, obviously, the more customers, the better results for all of us that are on public waste and water.
One of the projects on the utilities master plan is a septic sewer conversion, particularly along Grand Rondo and streets that connect. I guess there's sewer doesn't come down there, so we have to draw it first. We've got to find a grant to do the drawing, and then we have to find a grant to put in the sewer and help everybody connect.
So I suppose when you do an expansion like that, you do both water and waste.
So far, we've been doing them one at a time. You know, we had water off of Oakwood, but no sewer. We're gonna put 15 more septic tanks in there, so we ran a sewer line through the belt block. We have another project, we're looking to come in to build, maybe 13 houses. And, so we're working with them to run another sewer line, so they don't, we're telling me, they can't put in, you're not allowed to put in septic because you're too close to our sewer line. So, but the water projects are separate from that. So, Habitat Way, it worked out, we replaced the sewer line, and while we're there, we put in a new water line. And then the two water main projects that are going on now, Main Street and Prospect Street, are just water main replacement.
So if you put in a new waistline without water, how do you charge for the use, the monthly fee? Now I have both water and waste.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Percentage of my water consumption.
The construction projects. No, they're there together. A lot of people are on water and septic. I don't know if there are any that are just on our sewer system, but not on our water. There may be some, I'd have to ask Jocelyn.
So if you put in a waistline without the first, without the water.
Yeah,
Yeah, then that would be, the question is, how would you bill? I'll just leave you with that thought.
okay, yeah.
Um,
So probably that hasn't come up with the waistline we're putting in. There's water already there.
I have that situation. I hooked up the city sewer from my garage, but I don't have city water going in my garage as yet.
Do you get a separate bill for your garage or?
Yeah.
Do you two bills, one for the garage? How is your do you know how your sewer bill is calculated for the garage? Usually it's a percentage of water, based on the water bill. I'll have to look into that and see how that's calculated.
There's a minimum cost too, right? So it's like you have a minimum.
It might just be the
water, so
minimum, yeah.
It could be, the minimum, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a good thought, yeah. Okay, then I have a general question. There's an apartment building being worked on, and they're doing a nice job. It's in the historic district. When does a project like that come before the historical board for review?
Once we get our certified local government, then if they're a contributing structure, they'll have to apply for a certificate of appropriateness.
Oh, so that requirement doesn't exist now?
Correct.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So they can really do what they want?
Yeah, is it a contributing structure, do you know?
Oh, gosh, yes, yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually, they'll have to come before you, but right now it's not a requirement.
Okay, and so when will that become a requirement?
Once we get the state designated us certified local government.
And when may that be?
I'll have to find out, we sent our ordinance off to the SHPO, State Historic Preservation Officer, and she's reviewing it. And I think we're probably going to have to prod her to provide us with a response.
Oh, so it's in the process now?
Yes, yes.
So it could be a month, 2, or
Or 6.
it's at their leisure?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's on your pile, probably.
Yeah.
It's a disputed government.
Those are all the questions I have, thank you.
Any other questions?
No, I make a comment though, I think it's a good vision, I like the vision, I know that this is not what's in stone, I know that this is gonna be very fluid when it starts. And that's gonna be kind of our job, to look at these projects when they come in, one by one, kind of go from there, so I like the vision.
It's a great way to communicate also to potential developers. I actually have somebody asking about the Market Square site. So I'm able to send them visuals, like, this is what we're thinking of this community, we're not looking for a single box there or anything like that. We want to build our downtown.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure we need a motion.
Okay, can we have a motion that we, pass the reviewing of the master plan for consistency with the comprehensive plan? Can we get a motion
So move.
And a recommendation for approval to.
and a recommendation for approval
To the commission.
to the commission, I'm sorry.
So move.
Second.
Okay, it has been motion and second that we, get approval for the master plan for the consistency with the comprehensive plan and, a recommendation to the city commission. Okay, all in favor?
Bye.
Hi.
Thank you very much. I did one other thing, remember when Ted Carmichael was here, he asked me to give an update, kind of lost track of that, of the city business, and then, actually Brad, mentioned it the other day, I thought we get an update on what's going on. So if you permit me, I'll go through a little quick update on things that are happening around the city. Lockside Restaurant is currently going through site plan approval. They'll be coming to you at some point. They're also working with DOT to get a driveway permit. It's been vacant so long, they had to get a new access permit, and they'll have to close their southern driveway. They're too close together, and they're also, DOT wants them to put in a sidewalk, and we're advocating their behalf to waive that requirement. It'd be very expensive on that slope there, and it'll just go nowhere.
That's the restaurant going out of town?
Yeah,
And the name is gonna be what?
Lockside, the Scottish family.
Lockside, L-O-C-K?
LOCH.
Oh, okay,
Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah.
okay.
McDonald's is still preparing their plans. We've been working with them on their architectural standards. Our standards do require some historical elements in the architecture. We're suggesting brick would be a good way to move them in that direction. They've also submitted their sign package for review, so that's under review. That'll be coming to you. Moonshine Acres on the south end of town is still working with the Water Management District on the permitting. Very slow process. I remember way back when the owner mentioned to me, like, every time we have to make a change, it takes 3 months to get our plans back from the engineer. So every time they have to tweak it, they have to put it back in the pile, I guess, of the workload of their engineer. As I mentioned before, the land development code, we're finalizing it to bring to the city commission in May. At this point, we kind of went ahead and willingly delayed it to let the master plan get ahead of it, to go through. That's vision and master plan is coming next month for the first reading, May 11th. We had identified about 22 fire hydrants in the city that were either not functioning at all or leaking. And so we had a first phase of just repairing the easy ones. That's been done. And now the next phase, we're gonna replace all the old two-port ones for three-port. I think there's about 6 of those. And there's 3 others that just don't function that we're gonna replace. But that, we've gotta dig it up and see what's down there, what parts we need to order. And particularly the one in front of Three Bananas, so that once we have to they'll close for a day while we shut off their water and replace the thing and put it back together as quickly as we can. I mentioned earlier the ambulance station, we had requested $2 million, and we believe we've got $1 million. We won't know until the governor finishes his work. But so that would be a first phase where we might just build the ambulance. We had done a feasibility study, and we found out we had like $500,000 of ARPA money we wanted to spend on it, and feasibility said it's going to be about $1 million. So we switched that money to other projects. So now we're coming back and we end up having $1 million to potentially build that first phase.
May I make a comment?
Sure.
On the ambulance service? Some of us have doctors in DeLand, and so if we need to get picked up, we prefer to go south.
Give you a little tag to put on your
There's the only one.
Yeah, so since we're sort of in the middle, it would be nice to have the option.
Sure.
I think you do. When my mom, before she passed away, she went to land several times.
Oh, did she?
Well, yes,
Do they
you
ask
do have, that's a yes and a no. It depends on, you might get in an argument because I got an argument with them because they don't wanna go that way. So it
Yeah.
depends, but you should have that option.
Yep.
But I have, got into, with one firefighter, cause he gonna tell us which way we're going, not today. So that is, so you should have the option, but it depends on who it is and they don't wanna drive you that way.
Is this ambulance service that you're talking about, is this gonna be dual funded with county as well, sort of like it is now, or?
It's just what's currently up by Aza Health.
Yep.
Moving that unit into the
Oh, just moving this unit down here, so it's gonna be the county.
They said to move it, we have to have dorms, and we couldn't accommodate them without building something, so we're,
So
and we're
what they
hoping,
do with the building out there? It was still,
that's, Aza is expanding.
what you
So
call it?
they're building on there.
I'm sorry,
What you call it?
Aza?
Is a help,
AZA,
is a help.
It's not Azalea anymore?
Yeah, it's not Azalea,
they
it's
shortened it to
Isabel.
AZA.
Oh, okay, okay.
I thought it was Azalea still too.
Okay.
I was.
No. It's
One thing we're
Isabel.
hoping, we can build a couple extra dorms to encourage more firefighter volunteers. We can stay the night, we don't have that available right now, so I think it'll increase our volunteer.
Okay,
Are there dorms on site now?
On their site, yeah, by,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I think there's only like 1 or 2 beds up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very small.
The city just signed continuing services agreements with 2 grant writer companies, Fred Fox and Associates and Guardian, which is out of Dade City. So what we'll do is we'll finish, we got our comprehensive plan, our capital improvement budget, all the things we want to do. This year, that thing will be much bigger. It's about a 100-page document. In years past, it was 1 page. It's kind of our wish list. So we'll give that to them, meet with them, and they'll go after grants for us. Or some will come and say, we can apply for this grant, and this is our fee. Others will say, we can do this, and you only pay us if we get it, and we'll get paid out of the grant. So they'll let us know ahead of time, and we can decide if we want to go for it, pay the fee, or pass on it.
so that was Fred Fox and who?
Fred Fox is who's currently we work with for CDBG, and the other one's Guardian. I forget the rest of their name, but it's called Guardian for short. They're out of Dade City. And then, we did get, we had budgeted funds to do construction documents for the, New Moon Lodge. Unfortunately, what the architect we signed with told us we have to do a feasibility study first, see what's wrong with the existing building, condition that it's in. So they just send someone here, they literally scan the building in, create the plans, do the analysis. They'll do a, they call it historical asset study or something like that, and then conceptual plans. That's, their proposal is $40,000, so that'll be the money we have available. And so we'll have to seek a grant to go to construction documents. But that's necessary to tell them what's broke, basically, how the condition of the building. They're also gonna give us a proposal to do the school in the same way, a feasibility study for the school. So, that's all I've got.
One last comment. We've all heard from our community that we need an emergency medical area. So I think it would be nice to have that wish list in one of these documents.
Oh, they have a
Urgent. Yeah.
We've actually we've had some informal conversations with UF Health, Jan's Health.
Oh, sure.
To maybe have a location out here, and they're kind of interested in. So we'll see if they follow up.
Certainly would serve the peninsula, though.
Absolutely.
Peninsula, so, yeah, so,
The health desert or
I
something.
think,
they're calling it.
yeah, I know that it would put a lot of the community at ease.
Yeah.
We could have it.
Well, it's like an hour. You gotta get somewhere,
Yeah,
an hour drive ahead of you. And I know if you're passing the stone, that's a long hour.
yes.
I remember when we had a hospital, they shut it down. That's where the rehab center is. Yeah, that was a hospital. And, yeah, they built ours, I think I might have been a teenager when they built that. And, they said they shut it down. The state said it wasn't enough, residents here
Really?
to sustain it. So, yeah, I didn't understand that, but they closed it down and it was being utilized, but, yeah, people was excited about it, so. We had to go, Danville and Lily, we had to keep riding.
That's all I have.
I remember why I have separate sewer, because my lot is a double lot, and if I ever wanted to split the lot and sell one half of my property as a separate lot, it had to have separate sewer.
Separate, okay.
All right, everything else?
Dan, did you have an item?
Dan, did you
I
like,
covered it.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, it was the renovation,
did
apartment
you,
building.
Apartment, yeah.
did you mention that the, variance is gonna be coming in too. Should be here Saturday, he's gonna drop it off in the Dropbox.
Oh, that'll be next month, we may have a variance on your agenda for a garage or something, right?
Yeah.
Oh, when we have some of these other site plans on there, we got a
Yeah,
number of things, they're piling into the development review committee, but we gotta get them to you
Okay.
at some point.
All right, nothing else, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Diane, thanks for being our audience.
Actually, yeah,
Nice to
this is
have
the
I love these meetings.
planner. We have,
Anything.
don't review the last time.